Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Ford, and we are here for a poetry discussion, which will take place in the poetry discussion playlist here on the channel, cruising towards 365 video strong, just past 350 last week. We are here for a poem. You know, poetry is strange in that really, how many different things are there to communicate? Everything, right? Everything we could ever know there is to communicate. But you read enough poems and you find yourself sort of tracing over the same ideas sometimes, even if those ideas were presented hundreds of years apart, even if those ideas were presented on different continents, even if those ideas were presented by artists who almost undoubtedly never read the other's work. Here we have one of my favorite poems, probably my favorite poem, and the poet that I consider to be the greatest poet of all time. And we have, and I don't mean this in sort of a dismissive tone, but I'm not all that familiar with Rumi, and we're starting with the poem from Rumi. But it reminds me so much of another poem that I cannot help but present one with the other here. And it's only because I am so familiar with the second poem that I am presenting it with this, the first poem. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. The one thing that I do know about Rumi is that the poetry of Rumi is extremely erudite, very tight, very compact, very to the point. And in this way, it is almost haiku like, in that when you get to, every time you get to a point, you almost have to assume that you missed it. It's over so fast. Every point that is made in such close proximity to the introduction of the idea itself that it's almost impossible not to feel you've missed something. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing. What are we saying there? Past the ideas of what is right and what is wrong, past societal expectations, maybe, wrongdoing and right doing, according to whom, right? Out past that, there's a field. Like putting this idea of wrongdoing and right doing onto a physical plane is conceptually something that is almost astonishing, right? Where do you get the idea to make ideas physical places? But we have it here, out past all of this. And this is something that I think does not quite get appreciated in today's world because we have so many forms of commerce, of moving between places. We have so many forms of communication. If you were out somewhere and your car breaks down, you can call AAA. You can call your best friend. Someone can come and get you. It was not always this way. Even as recently, when I was in high school, and this is going to be an old man story, uphill both ways in the snow, I used to walk to and from weightlifting in the summers. My high school, I think, was about 5 miles from where I was living. Not terribly far, still sort of a trek. I have bad ankles. And if you've ever walked roadside for 5 miles, if you have ever consistently walked roadside, period, you know that turning an ankle is a pretty easy thing to do. Middle of summer, after leg day, doing squats, doing running, doing sprints, all of these things, walking home and turning an ankle, and you are 3 miles out from home. And I know I look young and dashing. I was in high school from 2000 to 2004. No cell phones. Did not have a cell phone. Did not know a soul in the world, and I'm sitting on the side of the road with a turned ankle. This idea of out beyond something, you are really exposed. It is you beyond the ideas of wrongdoing and rightdoing. There is a field. Just a field. Just a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Once we are past societal expectations and we are exposed, and it's you and me, and we are together exposed, the world is too full to talk about. The world, when we have nothing else, well, it's simply too much. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. Ideas, language, so ideas, whatever we have running through our heads, that is all noise. That is all fluff. These ideas. Language, the way that we communicate, even the phrase each other, even the distinction between the two of us is nonsensical at that point. Once it is you and me and the elements, baby, we will really know each other. Now, what is this second poem? If you've been around this channel for any length of time, probably you saw this coming. I Died for Beauty by Emily Dickinson. I died for beauty, but was scarce adjusted in the tomb, when one who died for truth was lain in an adjoining room. He questioned softly why I failed. For beauty, I replied, and I, for truth. The two are one, themself are one. We brethren are, he said. And so, as kinsmen met a night, we talked between the rooms until the moss had reached our lips and covered up our names. Beauty, truth. What are beauty and truth if not ideas of wrongdoing and right doing? You have true, you have untrue, you have beautiful, you have ugly. Wrongdoing and right doing, truth and beauty. I died and was adjusted in the tomb in an adjoining room. So this is all nomenclature talking about being dead and in a tomb. Sounds like it's beyond civilization. And it's not quite a field, but it is a place of... It is not weakness, not exposure. It is a place of... It is an ultimate place, being in that field. When the soul lies down in that grass, that's a lot like Well, it's kind of like this whole idea right here. One who died for truth was laying in an adjoining room. The world is too full to talk about. The moss reached our lips. The phrase each other doesn't make any sense. Covered up our names. There is anonymity when we don't have that language. So yeah, these poems are different. There are ideas of wrongdoing and rightdoing, which are quite separate from anything that is beautiful or true. There are ideas of truth and beauty that are separable from wrongdoing and rightdoing. But I think the essence of the thing is very close between these poems. And I had never read this poem before. I stumbled upon it today looking for a poem to read. So I am glad that I now have this one in my arsenal. And that is all I have for this poetry discussion. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, consider hitting the subscribe button in order to stick around for more poetry in the future. There's poetry every Monday here on the channel. We are also currently reading through The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. We are reading through all of Sylvia Plath's poems. We are reading through all of Ernest Hemingway's short stories. We just wrapped up Dubliners by James Joyce, and we are getting ready to wrap up the latest Stephen King novel. So if these are things to which you might look forward, consider hitting the subscribe button to stick around for more, and as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.